And specifically in week one, the offensive line, because you mentioned the running game in regards to being able to hold Utah down. But on the flip side, despite having two of the better backs in the SEC, the running game just was non existent. And so then you got to wonder, regardless of what happened against McNeese State, okay, is this the offensive line that we're going to see in the run game for the entire SEC season? Because that's not going to get it.
Yeah, luckily you do get Kingsley Iguakan back this week too to hopefully bolster that offensive line there. And you had him out last week, and yeah, Florida rushed about 300 yards on McNeese, a little over 300, passed for 200, and I really think that Florida in that game was trying to establish the run game, get some confidence in those running backs, that offensive line, because you're coming into a Tennessee game this week where last year they allowed only 35 rushing yards from Trevor Etienne and 18 yards from Montrell Johnson. It's the same front seven that you faced last year. So, you go and look at some of the Austin Peys and the Virginians that they faced, and they were able to rush 70, 80, maybe 90 yards. So you're thinking, okay, well maybe Florida can get some gaps and probably some of that run game going. And I'm really curious to see, if Billy Napier in this offense, if their plan is to run the football this time, if they look at last year's film, see what happens, see some of those breakdowns, and maybe maybe they try to get more creative with the run game, maybe test the edge a little bit, maybe, some running back passes or maybe an option toss, something like that, just to try to get a run game going. That way you're not trying to force it up the middle if you're not getting a run game going, kind of like what happened with Utah. And yeah, and I said it to one of my friends earlier this week. I said, we don't even know. It's only week two. Utah may have a good front seven. They may have one of the best front sevens in college football. We don't know. But you're going to get another test this week and hopefully be able to redeem yourself in the run game, which is what Billy Napier loves to do in his offense. I'm just really curious to see what that game plan is going to be like. Of course, Florida shredded Tennessee last year in the backfield with Anthony Richardson, 453 yards passing. And really curious to see how Tennessee shores up the backfield there. They've looked a little bit better backfield coverage wise, but you know when you break it down, Billy Napier wants to run the football. You do have a quarterback that can pass those intermediate passes a lot better than Anthony Richardson's. He's more accurate. He has I think a 70% plus completion rating right now, 72.6%. So when it comes down to it, I think that Florida, they're going to have to scheme something up if they can't get a run game going. And hopefully they learn from Utah and hopefully they can run the football in this game.
Folks, check out High Top Sports. They do an excellent job on there, and we've had them on quite a few times. And Dave, in particular, we appreciate Dave jumping on here to talk Florida football.